Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for stopping by the channel for another episode. It's going to be a quick and simple one today. We're going to take a look at half a dozen recent pickups that are a little bit more significant. These aren't budget busting buys by any means. We're talking probably $20 a card, maybe somewhere in that range, but they're significant enough that I deem them worthy of the OneTouch magnetic from Ultra Pro, which is a way that I love to display some of my kind of nicer cards that are of the ungraded variety. Seems like kind of an interesting time to send your cards off for grading here as we wait to see what happens in the fallout of the collectors/PSA acquisition of SGC. So for now, I'm going to keep these pickups in these magnetics, and maybe someday down the road, I'll submit one or more of them for grading. And let's start off. I think half of these are baseball and then half are other sports. Let's start off with a baseball. We'll do the other sports, and then we'll end with some baseball as well. And the first one here is one of my favorite parallels that Topps has ever done. In the year 2011, the Topps flagship set that year, which of course has the infamous Mike Trout rookie in the update set, they created parallels that were just fantastic. They had the Platinum Diamond Anniversary, the Cognac Diamond Anniversary, and then the Hope Diamond Anniversary, which is the most desirable of the three, because it is the only one serial numbered, and these are numbered to just 60 copies. So they're not easy to find here more than a dozen years after the release. Only 60 to begin with. They've really dried up. They're largely in private collections. And of course, not a lot of 2011 Topps or Topps Update is being opened anymore. So there's probably a lot of these sitting in unopened product as well. But picked up this one recently, Jacoby Ellsbury. And this is a name that maybe modern fans of the game who are younger may not even recognize. I don't know. But if you were a fan of Major League Baseball in the late 2000s, about 15 to 20 years ago now, this guy was a huge deal. Really big prospect coming up with my hometown Boston Red Sox. And he had a gimmick card in 2007 Topps Update Baseball that was like a super short print card that everybody was after. But anyway, after dealing with some injury, he really hit his stride in this year, in 2011, the year that this card was released. And that's why I went out and got this parallel. You might think it's a little bit crazy. I paid, I think, $19 for this. I'll try to tell you the prices where I remember them. But this is a huge parallel from that era, and it represents, the reason I went after it, clearly his best season of his career. It's not even close. He had been injured in 2010, colliding with Adrian Beltre. He injured his ribs, and he missed almost the entire season. It happened very early on in the year. But in 2011, he came back with a vengeance. He won the American League Player of the Year award and actually finished, believe it or not, second in MVP voting in the American League, which is kind of crazy to think about. But he just had a monster year. He clubbed 32 home runs, 105 RBI, led the league in total bases and plate appearances, just had a season for the ages. He would never replicate it. He dealt with injury again the following year in 2012, and then a couple of years after that, he went over to the Bronx, joined the Yankees, and was really never able to play anywhere near the level that he played at. But to me, this is like the perfect Jacoby Ellsbury card to have in my collection. I'm not going to super collect the guy. I've given away the majority of my Ellsbury cards that I do have, but this was too good to pass up. I love this parallel, and I love the story of the season that it represents, and him just kind of going off the charts and doing something that was completely out of character compared to what he'd done previously. And then, of course, due to injury and who knows what, was never able to replicate those statistics ever again. But for that moment in time, in 2011, as a Red Sox fan, Ellsbury was a huge deal. And that card will always remind me of that season. So I'm happy to have that in the collection. We're going to switch over to basketball. A rare basketball card here on the channel. I don't show them often, but there is one basketball player in particular who I think is clearly the greatest of all time, and I've gravitated towards him. And I learned of a card recently thanks to YouTube. My buddy Eric over at Those Back Pages, who is, I consider him almost a mentor to me in this hobby, just a wealth of knowledge and a big inspiration for me getting on here and making a channel to begin with. I've known Eric a long time, and when Eric says to pay attention to a card, I listen. I do. And he showed this one a while back, and it really resonated with me. So I set myself up a saved search, and I ended up scoring this for around $10. It's the Star Rookie throwback of MJ. Michael Jordan depicted here with the Bulls. I think this came out around 2003. It might have been either right after he retired or in his final season. Of course, he was no longer with the Bulls at the time, but for all the reasons that Eric got into when he showed this card in his episode, the throwback being an Upper Deck Star Rookie card. This is not a valuable card. This is, of course, not an actual rookie. It's like a what could have been or an imagined rookie card, but it's nonetheless, it's not an easy card. I've only seen a few of them show up in the time since Eric kind of made me aware of its existence. And this one went up at open auction and was able to get this for around $10. So really happy to have this. I don't collect a ton of basketball. And so getting kind of a cool, even if it's a little bit niche, just a cool Michael Jordan with a kind of a significant throwback feel, a brand that I love, Upper Deck, and scoring that for, $10. That is a perfect card to get the Ultra Pro magnetic treatment. Then I have two hockey cards next. These go hand in hand, and it just made sense to show these with the Jordan because they also represent the greatest in the history of their sport. And I have tried to gravitate towards collecting greats in recent years. These are a pair of post-playing era Wayne Gretzky cards, and they are from the Upper Deck Exclusives Parallel. So these came out. Here's the first one with the Oilers, and then here is the second one with the Kings. These are from the 1999-2000 Upper Deck hockey release. So this was the first year after Gretzky's retirement. He had just hung up the skates, and understandably so, being the greatest ever to lace up skates, Upper Deck did a kind of a big tribute to him in the 1999 flagship set. And this is only the second year that this parallel existed. These UD exclusives, serial numbered to 100. You can see that old school numbering on the front, copy 15 of 100 here. I love that. And these are both checklist cards. So that's probably the reason I was able to get them kind of cheap. You can see on the back, these are just these set checklist cards, but Upper Deck wisely put the recently retired Wayne Gretzky right on the front. And I've talked about these parallels many times throughout the history of the channel. They still make Upper Deck exclusives numbered to 100 in the flagship hockey set to this day. So this parallel has been around as a serial numbered parallel in Upper Deck flagship hockey for over 25 years. And these very, very early exclusives from the late 90s are just very, incredibly difficult to come by. And somebody put these up at auction recently with a $10 starting bid on each. And even though they're checklist cards, being a Gretzky fan, it's just really hard for me to pass on something of this magnitude being numbered to 100 or less from the 90s, especially with a starting bid that low. And I was able to win both of these, and I forget exactly what my winning bid was on each, but I can tell you for sure they were under $30 each. And I want to say my cost for the pair came to around $50 or maybe slightly under that. And so, yes, checklist cards maybe, but at the end of the day, these are Wayne Gretzky numbered to 100 from the 1990s. And I just think at that price point, they were too good to leave behind. So I'm really, really grateful that I could snatch both of them up. And then we're going to continue the serial numbered theme here at the end as we go back to baseball. Let me adjust the camera here. And we look at two of my favorite, examples, I should say, of one of my favorite parallels in modern cards or ultra modern cards. And they're from the Top Stadium Club release, which is maybe my favorite modern set year in and year out, just because of the amazing photography and the inclusion of retired stars and greats. And as some of you know, but maybe some of you don't, going all the way back to the reboot of the brand, the Stadium Club brand in 2014, so over 10 years running now, they have included these rainbow foil board parallels. Now, I pulled a couple of these out of a rummage that I did recently, but here we have a single that I picked up from the 2023 release. It is this amazing Dwight Gooden. Now, I talked about this card just recently because I also acquired the members only parallel, but this card I like even better for two reasons. It's got that amazing shine. Like, look at the shine on this card. And this is in a OneTouch in a bag, in a superior fit sleeve, and it still looks this good. And of course, I mentioned it when I showed the other version recently, but it's a wonderful photograph here from his time, really on top of the sporting world with the Mets in the mid-'80s. And I've just always loved this photograph. And the other thing that's cool about these, aside from the shine, they're serial numbered to just 25 copies. So you can see here the light's not cooperating, but I've got copy 2 of 25, my favorite number. And yeah, this was just a great deal, popped up as a buy it now. And as you can imagine, being numbered to 25, these are tricky little buggers to get your hands on for your collection. And ever since I saw the checklist get released for 2023 Stadium Club and saw that image, I knew I wanted to try to get one of the 25 copies of that out there. And really happy that I was able to get that done. And then going back a few years, just to show you how long this parallel has been around, the other one and the final card that I have to show today is from the 2015 Stadium Club release. So this is about 10 years old now almost. And not a Hall of Famer, just like Doc Gooden, but a guy who was, a big deal in the 80s. Check out this Fernando Valenzuela. And again, the lighting in here is maybe not perfect, but I love this image of him. Look at the joy on his face as he signs for the crowd here. You got that great rainbow foil effect on the fans behind him. Like, check that out. This is one of my favorite images in the 2015 Stadium Club set. Obviously, being numbered to 25, I don't try to super collect these parallels or anything. I try to instead just pick out meaningful cards and or meaningful images that I think represent some of the best that Stadium Club has to offer. And then if I can find those cards in this parallel, that is a win. And this one here, again, numbered to 25, as they always have been. And when I tell you, I had a saved search for this card for about 3 years before I finally had this copy pop. And it was available for, I think, $25, the cost of a retail blaster of Topps Stadium Club. So just an awesome card. There's a rumor out there that this is Pepino Man up in the upper right, reading his program. I can't confirm or deny that. Maybe he can weigh in if he sees this video. But a great Fernando Valenzuela, which is the icing on a lot of really nice cards today. I think every one of these rightfully deserves the OneTouch magnetic treatment. I hope you enjoyed looking at some of these pickups as much as I enjoyed showing them off. And as you know, I'll be back very soon with some more sports card content. Till then, I hope you're all enjoying the hobby. Take care.